Have you ever watched a story that slowly pulls you in, and before you even realize it, you're completely lost inside its world? Moana is one of those films that doesn't just entertain, it makes you feel every moment. From the very beginning, the movie builds a sense of mystery and tension, where every scene carries meaning and every character hides something deeper beneath the surface. As the story unfolds, you start to see how small decisions lead to unexpected consequences. The film takes you through intense moments, emotional turns, and powerful scenes that keep you hooked till the very end. It's not just about what happens, it's about why it happens and how it changes everything. The characters in this film are not simple. Each one has a purpose, a backstory, and a role that connects to the bigger picture. Their performances bring life to the story, making every scene feel real and impactful. But what truly makes Moana stand out is the way it was created, the vision behind the story, the effort put into its production, and the ideas that inspired it. Every detail, from storytelling to execution, adds something unique to the overall experience. In this video, we're going to break down the complete story, explore the characters, and analyze everything from its creation to its success. And just to be clear, this is not a full movie or a movie screening. It's a detailed review and analysis made for learning and entertainment purposes. So let's begin and take a closer look at Moana. There is something quietly powerful about a story that begins in stillness, where the world feels complete on the surface, yet something underneath is already shifting. Moana opens with that exact feeling. It does not rush to impress you with action or spectacle. Instead, it pulls you into a world that feels alive, ancient, and deeply connected to nature. This is not just a colorful animated adventure. It is a story about identity, responsibility, and the tension between safety and calling. And just to be clear from the start, this is a detailed review and breakdown, not a replacement for the full movie experience. The film was released in 2016, directed by John Musker and Clements, with Auliʻi Cravalho voicing Moana and Dwayne Johnson bringing life to Maui. On paper, it sounds like a simple family adventure set in the Pacific Islands. But what makes it stand out is how it treats its characters with emotional honesty. The story does not rely only on humor or songs to carry it forward. It builds meaning through small choices, quiet conflicts, and a constant push between fear and curiosity. That balance becomes the core of everything that follows. The first moments drop us into a legend, but it does not feel distant or exaggerated. It feels like something passed down through generations, shaped by voices rather than written words. The world begins with Te Whiti, an island goddess who holds the power to create life itself. Her presence is calm and nurturing, and everything around her reflects that harmony. But then comes disruption, not loud or chaotic at first, but deliberate. Maui, a demigod with charm and ego in equal measure, steals her heart. That single act changes the balance of the entire world. What makes this opening effective is not just the event itself, but how it frames consequence. Darkness does not explode into existence instantly. It spreads, slowly and quietly, like something inevitable. Te Ka emerges as a destructive force, not just as a villain, but as a result of imbalance. Maui tries to escape, but fails, losing both the heart and his magical hook in the process. The ocean reclaims the heart, and with that, the story plants its central question without directly stating it. Who will restore what was broken, and at what cost? As the legend fades, the story transitions into something more grounded. A small child stands by the shore, drawn to the ocean in a way that feels instinctive rather than taught. This is Moana, and her connection to the water is immediate. The ocean does not behave like a simple environment. It reacts, it observes, and in a subtle way, it chooses. There is a quiet moment where the water parts, almost inviting her forward, and instead of fear, there is curiosity. That choice defines her character long before she understands it herself. This early interaction tells you something important about Moana. She is not driven by rebellion for the sake of it. She is pulled by something she cannot fully explain. Even as a child, her expressions carry a mix of wonder and confusion. The world she is part of is stable, structured, and protective. Her father, the chief of the island, represents that stability. He values safety, tradition, and clear boundaries. The ocean, on the other hand, represents the unknown, and to him, that unknown carries risk. As Moana grows older, that internal conflict becomes more visible. She is being prepared to lead her people, and in many ways, she is capable. She listens, observes, and shows empathy toward others. These are not forced traits. They feel natural to her. But at the same time, there is a constant pull toward the horizon. The island provides everything her people need, yet something feels incomplete. That feeling is not explained through dialogue alone. It is shown through her pauses, her distant looks, and the way she reacts when the ocean is nearby. One of the strongest elements in this part of the story is how it handles expectation. Moana is not rejecting her role as future chief. She respects it. She understands the responsibility that comes with it. But the film carefully builds a tension between who she is expected to be and who she feels she might become. Her father reinforces the idea that their island is enough, that everything beyond the reef is dangerous and unnecessary. This belief is not presented as ignorance. It comes from experience, from loss, and from a desire to protect. That perspective becomes clearer during a key moment when Moana attempts to sail beyond the reef. It is not an act of defiance. It is an attempt to understand the feeling she has been carrying for so long. But the ocean does not welcome her easily this time. The waters turn rough, and for the first time, fear takes over. The scene slows down here, allowing you to feel the shift in her confidence. What once felt inviting now feels overwhelming. She struggles, loses control, and ultimately fails to go further. Her father's reaction afterward is firm but not cruel. He does not punish her out of anger. He speaks from a place of concern, shaped by his own past experiences that are not fully revealed yet. He makes it clear that their people do not go beyond the reef. That line becomes more than a rule. It becomes a boundary between two ways of living. One rooted in safety and tradition, the other in exploration and uncertainty. Moana stands between those two paths, not fully belonging to either. At this stage, the story is still building its foundation, but it does so with intention. Every scene adds a layer to Moana's internal struggle. The island feels vibrant and alive, yet slightly confined. Her responsibilities feel meaningful, yet incomplete. The ocean feels beautiful, yet unpredictable. This balance keeps the narrative grounded, even as it hints at something larger waiting to unfold. Nothing feels rushed. The pacing allows each emotion to settle before moving forward. There is also a subtle introduction of another key figure in her life, her grandmother. Unlike her father, her grandmother carries a different kind of wisdom. She does not dismiss the ocean or the past. Instead, she acknowledges it in a way that feels open and accepting. Her presence creates a contrast that becomes important later. She does not push Moana toward a specific choice. She simply allows her to question, which in itself becomes a form of guidance. The story has not yet moved into its main adventure, but it has done something more important. It has established why that adventure matters. It is not about proving bravery or chasing excitement. It is about understanding identity, about choosing between comfort and calling, and about facing the unknown with purpose. The groundwork is set carefully, making sure that when the journey begins, it carries emotional weight rather than just movement. The tension that has been quietly building inside Moana does not explode all at once. It lingers, growing in small moments that begin to feel heavier with time. Life on the island continues as expected, with routines that have worked for generations. People fish, harvest coconuts, repair homes, and trust that tomorrow will look much like today. On the surface, nothing seems wrong. But slowly, almost unnoticed at first, signs of imbalance begin to appear. It starts with something simple. The fishermen return with fewer catches than usual. Nets come back lighter, and the usual confidence in their work starts to shift into uncertainty. No one panics immediately. Instead, they adjust, assuming it is temporary. But then the coconuts begin to spoil. Crops that once grew easily start to fail without clear reason. These changes are not dramatic or sudden. They unfold quietly, which makes them feel more unsettling. There is no single event to blame, no clear solution to fix it. Moana notices these changes more than most. Not because she is told to, but because she pays attention. She walks through the village and observes the small details others might overlook. A fisherman hesitates before speaking. A farmer examines soil with confusion rather than confidence. These are not loud moments, but they carry weight. They show a community beginning to feel something is wrong, even if they cannot yet define it. Moana absorbs all of this, and it adds to the feeling she has carried since childhood. Her role as future chief becomes more complicated in this context. It is no longer just about learning traditions or making routine decisions. Now, it is about facing uncertainty. Her father continues to guide her, encouraging practical thinking and calm leadership. He believes the solution lies within the island, in working harder and staying grounded. His approach is logical, shaped by the belief that stability comes from staying within known limits. For him, the ocean remains a boundary that should not be crossed. Moana tries to follow this path. She engages with her people, listens to their concerns, and attempts to think like a leader. There is a scene where she stands before the villagers, trying to offer reassurance. Her words are careful, measured, and sincere, but there is hesitation beneath them. She does not fully believe the answers she is giving. That disconnect is subtle, but it is there. It reflects the gap between what she is expected to say and what she actually feels. As the pressure builds, the idea of going beyond the reef returns, not as curiosity this time, but as a possible solution. It is no longer about personal desire. It becomes tied to responsibility. If the island can no longer provide, then staying might not be the safest option after all. This shift is important because it reframes her internal conflict. The ocean is no longer just a personal calling. It becomes a potential answer to a real problem. She brings this idea to her father, hoping for understanding. Instead, she meets resistance that feels stronger than before. He does not just dismiss the suggestion. He shuts it down completely. His reaction is immediate and firm, leaving no space for discussion. This moment carries emotional weight because it reveals something deeper than simple disagreement. There is fear behind his words, fear that he has not fully explained. That fear turns into control, and that control creates distance between them. Moana does not argue aggressively. She listens, but her silence carries frustration. It is the kind of frustration that comes from feeling unheard rather than misunderstood. She begins to realize that her father's decisions are not just about logic. They are shaped by something personal, something unresolved. That realization does not give her clarity, but it adds another layer to her confusion. Now, she is not just questioning her path. She is questioning the limits that have been set for her. This is where her grandmother's role becomes more significant. Unlike others, she senses the conflict inside Moana without needing it to be explained. She approaches her not with instructions, but with presence. Their conversations feel different from anything else in the story so far. They are quieter, more reflective, and filled with meaning that is not always spoken directly. Her grandmother does not dismiss the island's problems, but she also does not ignore the call Moana feels. One evening, away from the noise of the village, her grandmother shares something that shifts the direction of the story. She introduces the idea that their people were not always confined to the island. They were voyagers, explorers who traveled across vast oceans, guided by stars and instinct. This revelation is not presented as a distant myth. It is shown as a forgotten truth, something that was lost rather than never known. For Moana, this changes everything. The idea that her ancestors once embraced the ocean challenges everything she has been taught. It reframes the boundary her father insists on. The reef is no longer just a line of safety. It becomes a line of fear, drawn after something went wrong in the past. This realization does not immediately give Moana confidence, but it gives her perspective. It shows her that the choice she is facing is not new. It is part of a larger history that has been hidden from her. Her grandmother does not push her to act. Instead, she gives her something more valuable. She gives her permission to question. That permission becomes a turning point. Moana begins to see that leadership is not just about maintaining what exists. It is also about understanding when change is necessary. This idea starts to take root, slowly but firmly. It does not erase her doubts, but it gives them direction. At the same time, the condition of the island continues to decline. The changes are no longer subtle. They become harder to ignore, affecting more people and creating a sense of urgency. The community begins to feel the pressure more openly. Conversations shift from routine concerns to deeper worries about survival. Moana watches all of this, and the weight of responsibility grows heavier. She can no longer separate her personal conflict from the needs of her people. There is a moment where she stands at the edge of the island, looking out at the ocean again. This time, the feeling is different from before. It is not just curiosity or longing. It is a mix of fear, responsibility, and something that feels like inevitability. The ocean, as always, remains calm on the surface, but it carries a sense of depth that feels both inviting and uncertain. Moana stands there, caught between two realities that can no longer coexist peacefully. What makes the story effective is how it avoids simple answers. There is no clear right or wrong path presented. Staying on the island feels safe but limited. Leaving feels dangerous but necessary. The film allows this tension to exist without resolving it too quickly. It trusts the audience to sit with that uncertainty, to feel the weight of the decision alongside Moana. That shared experience strengthens the connection to her journey. The story has moved forward without rushing into action. The stakes are clearer, the conflict is deeper, and the emotional foundation is stronger. Moana is no longer just a curious girl drawn to the ocean. She is someone beginning to understand the complexity of her role, the history of her people, and the cost of both action and inaction. The journey has not begun yet, but it feels closer than before. The weight of everything Moana has learned does not push her into immediate action. Instead, it settles inside her, creating a quiet shift in how she sees the world around her. The island has not changed physically overnight, but her perspective has. Every routine now feels slightly different, as if she is observing it from a distance while still being part of it. The laughter of children, the rhythm of daily work, even the sound of the ocean against the shore all carry a new layer of meaning. It is no longer just life as she has always known it. It feels like something fragile, something that might not last if nothing changes. Her grandmother becomes the only person she can fully open up to. Their connection deepens, not through dramatic conversations, but through small, meaningful exchanges. There is a sense that her grandmother understands things without needing them to be explained. One evening, she takes Moana further away from the village, beyond the places she usually walks. The air feels different there, quieter, almost like stepping into a memory that has been waiting to be found. What Moana discovers in that hidden part of the island changes her understanding in a way that words alone never could. Boats, large and carefully built, sit untouched as if frozen in time. These are not simple fishing vessels. They are designed for long journeys, built with intention and skill. The sight alone carries a sense of history that feels both inspiring and overwhelming. It is physical proof that her people were once something very different from what they have become. Her grandmother does not present this discovery as a secret meant to shock her. Instead, she reveals it with calm certainty, as if this truth has always been there, waiting for the right moment. She explains that their ancestors were voyagers who explored the ocean not out of desperation, but out of purpose. They navigated vast distances, discovered new lands, and built their identity through movement rather than stillness. This history was not lost by accident. It was set aside after fear took hold. That fear is not described in full detail, but its presence is clear. Something happened in the past that made her people turn away from the ocean. The reef became a boundary not just for safety, but as a way to avoid repeating whatever caused that fear. This context adds depth to her father's perspective. His strictness is no longer just about control. It comes from a place shaped by inherited caution, a desire to protect his people from something he may not fully understand himself. For Moana, this revelation creates a powerful internal shift. The ocean is no longer an unknown force pulling her without explanation. It becomes part of her identity, something her ancestors embraced rather than feared. This realization does not remove her doubts, but it reframes them. Instead of asking why she feels drawn to the ocean, she begins to ask why she was taught to ignore that feeling in the first place. That question becomes more important than any answer she has received so far. Her grandmother reinforces this idea in a way that feels gentle but firm. She does not command Moana to take action. She simply reminds her that the voice inside her is not something to silence. It is something to understand. This guidance is subtle, but it carries weight because it respects Moana's ability to choose for herself. That respect becomes a form of trust, and that trust strengthens Moana's sense of responsibility. As this internal transformation takes place, the condition of the island continues to worsen. The changes are no longer limited to resources. They begin to affect the spirit of the people. There is a growing sense of unease, a feeling that something is wrong beyond what can be seen. Conversations become more serious, and the usual sense of stability starts to feel uncertain. Moana watches this shift closely, and it becomes harder for her to stay still. There is a moment where she tries once again to act within the limits her father has set. She gathers ideas, listens to suggestions, and attempts to find solutions that do not involve leaving the island. Her efforts are sincere, but they feel incomplete. Every path she considers leads back to the same limitation. The island cannot provide what it once did, and ignoring that reality only delays the inevitable. This realization builds slowly, but once it settles, it becomes difficult to ignore. Her father, meanwhile, remains firm in his beliefs. He continues to emphasize safety and tradition, even as the evidence around him suggests that something is changing. His leadership style is consistent, but it begins to feel strained under the growing pressure. He is trying to maintain control in a situation that no longer fits within the boundaries he trusts. That tension does not make him a villain. It makes him human, someone holding on to certainty in a moment that demands adaptation. The relationship between Moana and her father becomes more distant, not because they stop caring about each other, but because they are moving in different directions. Their conversations carry more weight now, filled with things left unsaid. Moana begins to realize that waiting for his approval may not be an option. That understanding is not easy for her. It comes with guilt, with hesitation, and with the fear of making the wrong choice. At the same time, her connection to the ocean grows stronger. There are quiet moments where the water responds to her presence in subtle ways, as if acknowledging her without drawing attention. These interactions are not dramatic, but they feel intentional. It is as if the ocean is waiting, patient but certain, allowing her to come to her own decision rather than forcing it. This approach mirrors the guidance she receives from her grandmother, creating a consistent theme of choice rather than pressure. One of the most emotionally grounded moments in this part comes when Moana reflects on what it truly means to lead. Up until now, leadership has been presented as maintaining balance and protecting what already exists. But the situation she faces challenges that definition. Protecting her people may require stepping into uncertainty, making decisions that go against tradition. That idea is difficult because it forces her to accept that leadership is not always about comfort or approval. Sometimes it is about risk. Her grandmother senses this shift and offers one final piece of guidance that feels both personal and symbolic. She reminds Moana that the ocean chose her, not as a burden, but as a responsibility. This statement is not framed as destiny in a controlling sense. It is presented as an opportunity, one that only matters if Moana chooses to accept it. That distinction is important because it keeps the focus on her agency rather than fate. As the night settles, Moana stands once again at the edge of the water, but this time, her posture is different. She is not just observing or wondering. She is thinking, weighing everything she has learned against everything she feels. The ocean remains calm, reflecting the sky above, but there is a sense that something is waiting just beyond the surface. Not pushing, not demanding, just present. The story reaches a quiet but powerful turning point. Moana has not made her final decision yet, but the direction is clear. The balance between staying and leaving has shifted. What once felt like a choice between safety and curiosity now feels like a choice between fear and responsibility. The journey is no longer a distant possibility. It is becoming something real, something that will require her to step beyond everything she has known. The decision does not arrive in a loud or dramatic moment. It forms slowly, shaped by everything Moana has seen, heard, and felt. By now, the tension inside her has reached a point where staying still feels heavier than moving forward. The island continues to struggle, and the answers she once hoped to find within its boundaries no longer seem enough. Yet even with that clarity, taking the first step is not simple. It carries weight, not just for her, but for everyone who depends on her. That weight becomes even more real when her grandmother's health begins to decline. The change is subtle at first, easy to overlook if not for the way Moana pays attention to small details. Her movements slow down, her energy fades, and there is a quiet understanding that time is becoming limited. This shift adds urgency to everything Moana is already feeling. It is no longer just about making a decision. It is about making it before the chance is gone. Their final conversation together is one of the most emotionally grounded moments in the story so far. It does not rely on dramatic speeches or overwhelming emotion. Instead, it is built on honesty and acceptance. Her grandmother does not express fear or regret. She speaks with calm certainty, as if she has always known this moment would come. She encourages Moana to follow the voice inside her, not because it is easy, but because it is true. There is a sense of passing something forward in this exchange. It is not a physical object or a specific instruction. It is a belief, a trust in Moana's ability to choose her own path. That trust carries more weight than any command could. For Moana, this moment removes the last layer of hesitation that has been holding her back. The conflict inside her does not disappear, but it becomes clearer. The fear is still there, but it no longer controls her decision. After this, the story shifts in a way that feels both quiet and significant. Moana does not announce her choice to the village. She does not seek approval or create a moment of public declaration. Instead, she begins to prepare in silence. This approach reflects her understanding of what she is about to do. It is not something that needs validation. It is something that needs commitment. She returns to the hidden cave where the ancient boats are kept. This time, the space feels different. It is no longer just a discovery. It becomes a starting point. The boats are not relics anymore. They are tools waiting to be used again. Moana moves through the cave with purpose, examining each vessel carefully. Her actions are deliberate, showing a level of focus that has grown steadily over time. What stands out here is how the film handles her preparation. It does not rush through it as a simple transition into adventure. It allows the process to feel real, grounded in effort and intention. Moana selects a boat that feels right for her, not because it is perfect, but because she is ready to make it work. She studies its structure, adjusts what she can, and begins to understand the responsibility that comes with using it. At the same time, she retrieves the heart of Te Whiti, the small green stone that the ocean once placed in her hand when she was a child. This object has been present in the story from the beginning, but its meaning becomes more concrete now. It is no longer just a symbol of the legend. It is the key to restoring balance, the reason her journey matters beyond her own personal conflict. Holding the heart again brings a sense of connection between her past and her future. It reminds her of the moment when the ocean first chose her, when everything began without her fully understanding it. Now, she understands more, but the responsibility feels heavier. The heart is small, almost fragile, yet it carries the weight of an entire world that has fallen out of balance. That contrast makes the task ahead feel both possible and overwhelming. As night falls, Moana prepares to leave. The village is quiet, unaware of what is about to happen. This silence adds a layer of intimacy to the moment. There is no crowd, no final farewell, no external pressure. It is just her, the ocean, and the choice she has made. This simplicity makes the moment feel more personal, more grounded in her own journey rather than the expectations of others. Before she leaves, there is a brief pause where she looks back at the island. It is not a long or dramatic moment, but it carries emotional weight. Everything she has known, everything that has shaped her, is there. The people, the traditions, the sense of belonging. She is not rejecting any of it. She is stepping away from it because she believes it is the only way to protect it. That distinction matters because it keeps her motivation rooted in care rather than escape. When she finally pushes the boat into the water, the ocean responds in a way that feels supportive without being controlling. The waves guide her gently, creating a path that feels intentional but not forced. It is as if the ocean acknowledges her decision, not as something it demanded, but as something she has chosen. This interaction reinforces the idea that her journey is a partnership rather than a destiny imposed on her. The first moments on the water are calm, almost peaceful. The island begins to fade behind her, and the horizon opens up in front of her. This visual transition mirrors the internal shift she has gone through. For the first time, she is not standing between two paths. She is on one. The uncertainty is still there, but it feels different now. It is no longer paralyzing. It becomes part of the journey rather than a barrier to it. However, this calm does not last long. As she moves further from the island, the ocean begins to change. The waves grow stronger, the wind becomes less predictable, and the sense of control she felt at the start begins to slip. This shift is important because it grounds the story in reality. The ocean is not simply a guide or a friend. It is a force that requires respect and understanding. Moana struggles to maintain balance, both physically and emotionally. The skills she has observed are not yet fully developed in her. She makes mistakes, small ones at first, then larger ones that test her confidence. The boat moves in ways she does not expect, and the water does not always respond to her intentions. This is the first real test of her decision, where the idea of the journey meets its reality. Despite these challenges, she does not turn back. That choice is not framed as bravery in a simple sense. It is persistence. She adjusts, learns, and continues forward, even when the path is unclear. This approach keeps her character grounded, showing growth without making it feel effortless. Every small success is earned, and every mistake adds to her understanding. Moana is fully in motion, both physically and emotionally. The island is behind her, the ocean is no longer just an idea, and the journey has truly begun. The story shifts from preparation to action, but it does so without losing the emotional depth that has been built so far. The stakes are no longer just internal. They are real, immediate, and tied to every decision she makes from this point forward. The moment Moana moves far enough from the island, the world around her begins to feel larger in a way she has never experienced before. The horizon stretches endlessly, no longer framed by familiar land or predictable patterns. At first, there is a sense of quiet achievement. She has done what no one else around her would allow, and that alone carries a feeling of purpose. But that feeling does not stay simple for long. The ocean, which once felt like a distant calling, now becomes something she must actively understand. The early phase of her journey is marked by small adjustments rather than major progress. She experiments with the sail, trying to read the wind in ways that are still unfamiliar. Each movement feels slightly uncertain, as if she is translating knowledge she has only seen from a distance into real action. Sometimes the boat responds smoothly, gliding across the water with a rhythm that feels almost natural. Other times, it resists her, turning unpredictably and forcing her to react quickly. This learning process is not presented as a clean progression. It is uneven, filled with moments where confidence builds, only to be shaken again. There are brief stretches where she smiles, feeling a sense of control, followed by sudden shifts where she struggles to maintain direction. This balance keeps the journey grounded. It shows that determination alone is not enough. Skill, patience, and awareness must grow alongside it. As time passes, the ocean begins to test her more directly. The waves grow stronger, not in a violent way at first, but in a way that demands attention. The boat rises and falls with a rhythm that is harder to predict. Moana tightens her grip, focusing on staying balanced rather than moving forward quickly. In these moments, the scale of what she has chosen becomes clearer. She is no longer guided by land or routine. Every decision she makes now carries immediate consequences. There is a moment where the wind shifts suddenly, catching her off guard. The sail pulls harder than she expects, and the boat tilts sharply to one side. For a brief second, it feels like control slips away completely. She reacts instinctively, adjusting her position and trying to correct the movement. It works, but only just. That close call leaves a mark on her confidence. It reminds her that the ocean does not adjust to her. She must adjust to it. Despite these challenges, there are also moments of calm that feel almost reflective. The water settles, the wind softens, and the boat moves steadily forward. In these quieter stretches, Moana has time to think. She reflects on everything that brought her here, from her grandmother's guidance to her father's warnings. Those voices do not disappear. They stay with her, shaping how she interprets each moment. Instead of choosing one over the other, she begins to understand that both perspectives have value. This realization adds depth to her journey. It is not about rejecting the safety her father believed in. It is about expanding beyond it. She begins to see that caution and curiosity do not have to exist in opposition. They can work together, guiding her decisions in a more balanced way. This shift is subtle, but it marks an important step in her growth. She is no longer reacting purely on instinct. She is starting to think like someone responsible for more than just herself. As night approaches, the atmosphere changes again. The sky darkens, and the ocean takes on a different presence. Without the light of day, everything feels less certain. The stars appear above her, scattered across the sky in patterns she has only partially learned to read. This is where the idea of her ancestors as navigators begins to connect with her current reality. She is not just moving forward randomly. She is trying to follow something larger, even if she does not fully understand it yet. The first night on the ocean is not peaceful. The darkness brings a sense of isolation that is difficult to ignore. There are no familiar sounds, no voices, no signs of land. Just the constant movement of water and the quiet vastness of the sky. Moana feels this isolation deeply, but she does not let it overwhelm her. Instead, she focuses on staying present, on managing what she can control rather than fearing what she cannot. At one point, a stronger wave hits the side of the boat, causing it to shake more violently than before. She grips the edges, bracing herself as the water splashes over. It is not enough to capsize her, but it is enough to remind her that the ocean can change quickly. This moment pushes her to stay alert, to respect the environment she is in rather than assume it will remain calm. As the night continues, exhaustion begins to set in. Her movements slow, her reactions become less sharp, and the effort of staying focused grows heavier. This is another layer of the journey that she has to face. It is not just about physical ability or emotional strength. It is about endurance. The ocean does not pause for her to rest. She must find a way to manage her energy while still maintaining control. Eventually, she allows herself a brief moment of rest, though it is far from comfortable. The boat continues to move, guided by the wind and the current, while she tries to regain some strength. Even in this moment, there is tension. She cannot fully relax, knowing that any sudden change could require immediate action. This constant awareness becomes part of her new reality. When the first light of morning begins to appear, it brings a sense of relief. The darkness fades, and with it, some of the uncertainty that came with it. The ocean looks different again, calmer in appearance, though no less powerful. Moana sits up, taking in her surroundings, and for a moment, there is a quiet sense of accomplishment. She has made it through her first full stretch alone on the open water. But that sense of progress is quickly met with a new realization. The journey ahead is still vast, and she has only just begun. The distance she has covered feels small compared to what remains. This awareness does not discourage her, but it keeps her grounded. It prevents her from assuming that the hardest part is behind her. Instead, it reinforces the idea that every step forward will require the same level of focus and effort. As the day continues, she begins to feel more in tune with the movement of the boat. Her adjustments become slightly more confident, her reactions more measured. The mistakes are still there, but they are less frequent, less disruptive. This gradual improvement reflects the way growth happens in real situations. It is not sudden or dramatic. It builds through repetition and persistence. Just as she starts to settle into this rhythm, something unexpected appears in the distance. At first, it is hard to distinguish, just a shape against the horizon that does not fit with the natural patterns of the ocean. As she moves closer, it becomes clearer that this is not just another wave or reflection. It is something solid, something different. That realization brings both curiosity and caution. Moana slows her approach, trying to understand what she is seeing before getting too close. The object does not move like the water around it. It remains steady, creating a contrast that immediately stands out. This moment introduces a new layer to her journey. The ocean is no longer just an environment she must navigate. It becomes a space where unexpected encounters can happen. Moana has moved beyond the initial phase of her journey. She is no longer just someone who chose to leave. She is someone actively learning how to survive and adapt in a world far larger than anything she has known. The challenges she has faced so far are only the beginning, but they have already begun to shape her into someone capable of continuing forward. The shape on the horizon becomes clearer with each passing moment, and with that clarity comes a shift in Moana's focus. Up until now, her journey has been defined by the ocean itself, by learning how to move through it and respond to its changes. But this is different. This is something within the ocean, something that does not follow the same patterns as wind or waves. It holds its position, steady and almost out of place, as if it exists on its own terms. As she approaches, the details begin to take form. It is not an island in the traditional sense, nor is it something entirely natural. There is a roughness to its structure, pieces that look broken or scattered rather than formed with intention. Parts of it seem worn down, as if time and water have shaped it into something unstable. This creates an immediate sense of caution. It does not feel welcoming, but it does not feel entirely threatening either. It simply exists, waiting to be understood. Moana slows her movement, adjusting the sail carefully to reduce speed. Her earlier experiences on the water have taught her that rushing into the unknown rarely ends well. She keeps her distance at first, observing how the structure interacts with the waves. Some parts remain steady, while others shift slightly, creating small but noticeable changes in the water around them. This unpredictability forces her to stay alert. There is a quiet moment where she considers whether to move closer or continue past it. The journey ahead is already uncertain, and this detour could add risk without clear benefit. But at the same time, something about it draws her in. Not in the same way the ocean did, but with a sense of curiosity that feels grounded in awareness rather than impulse. She decides to approach, but carefully, keeping control as much as she can. As she navigates closer, the structure reveals more of its nature. It appears to be made up of fragments, pieces that may have once belonged to something whole but are now scattered and loosely connected. There are hints of objects that do not belong to the natural ocean, shapes that suggest tools or materials shaped by hands rather than formed by nature. This realization adds a layer of mystery. It suggests that others have been here, or at least passed through, leaving traces behind. The closer she gets, the more the environment begins to shift in subtle ways. The water feels slightly different, not in its movement, but in its rhythm. There is a sense of imbalance, as if something beneath the surface is affecting how everything moves. Moana feels this change, even if she cannot fully explain it. Her instincts tell her to stay cautious, to remain ready for anything that might happen. She brings the boat alongside a stable section of the structure, securing it as best as she can. Every movement is deliberate, measured to avoid unnecessary risk. This is not the same Moana who first struggled to control her boat. There is still uncertainty, but it is paired with growing awareness. She steps onto the surface, testing it carefully before shifting her full weight. The ground beneath her is uneven, but it holds. Standing there, surrounded by fragments of something unknown, Moana takes a moment to observe her surroundings more closely. The air feels different here, quieter in a way that does not feel entirely natural. There is no clear source of danger, but there is also no sense of ease. It is a place that feels suspended between past and present, carrying traces of something that has not fully disappeared. As she moves further in, she notices more details that hint at a story beneath the surface. Objects are scattered in ways that suggest they were not placed intentionally. Some look worn down by time, others appear relatively intact but disconnected from any clear purpose. This lack of order creates a feeling of unease, as if something disrupted what once existed here. Her attention is drawn to a specific area where the fragments seem more concentrated. There is a faint sense of structure there, as if pieces have gathered around a central point. She approaches slowly, her focus sharpening with each step. The closer she gets, the more she feels that she is not alone in this space, even though nothing is immediately visible. That feeling becomes stronger when a sudden movement breaks the stillness. It is quick, almost too fast to fully process, but it is enough to confirm that something is here. Moana reacts instinctively, stepping back slightly and shifting her stance. Her body tenses, ready to respond, even though she does not yet understand what she is facing. For a brief moment, everything goes quiet again. The air feels heavier, as if holding its breath. Moana stays still, her eyes scanning the area, trying to catch any sign of movement. This pause stretches longer than expected, building tension without revealing its source. It forces her to rely on instinct rather than sight. Then, without warning, the stillness breaks again. This time, the movement is clearer, more deliberate. A small figure emerges from the scattered fragments, moving with speed and precision. It is unlike anything she has encountered before, not large or imposing, but quick and unpredictable. Its presence shifts the tone of the moment instantly. Moana does not react with panic, but with focused caution. She studies the creature's movements, trying to understand its behavior rather than immediately retreating. There is a brief exchange of awareness between them, a moment where both seem to assess the other. This interaction is not hostile, but it is not friendly either. It exists somewhere in between, driven by curiosity and uncertainty. The creature moves again, circling around her in a way that feels intentional. It is not random movement. It is observing, testing, perhaps even deciding how to respond. Moana remains steady, resisting the urge to make sudden movements that could escalate the situation. This restraint shows how much she has already grown. She is no longer reacting purely on impulse. She is thinking, even in moments of tension. As this interaction continues, it becomes clear that this encounter is not just a random event. It represents something new in her journey, a reminder that the ocean is not empty, that it holds more than just challenges of nature. It holds life, unpredictability, and situations that cannot be controlled or fully understood in advance. The journey takes on a new dimension. It is no longer just about navigating the ocean or reaching a distant goal. It becomes about engaging with the unknown in all its forms, learning not just from the environment, but from the unexpected encounters within it. Moana stands in the middle of this unfamiliar space, aware that every step forward will bring new challenges, each requiring a different kind of strength. The small creature's movements grow more deliberate, no longer just circling out of curiosity but engaging with a kind of intent that feels almost calculated. Moana watches closely, trying to understand its pattern rather than reacting too quickly. Its size makes it seem harmless at first, but its speed and awareness suggest otherwise. It is not afraid of her presence. If anything, it appears interested, as if she has entered its space rather than the other way around. There is a brief pause where both remain still, observing each other. In that silence, Moana realizes something important. This encounter is not about dominance or escape. It is about reading the situation correctly. She lowers her stance slightly, not in submission, but in a way that reduces tension. Her movements become slower, more controlled, signaling that she is not a threat. This choice reflects the growth she has gained from her journey so far. The creature responds by shifting its position, moving closer but not aggressively. Its eyes remain fixed on her, sharp and alert. There is intelligence in the way it moves, a sense that it is making decisions rather than acting on instinct alone. This realization changes how Moana approaches the situation. She is no longer dealing with something unpredictable in a simple sense. She is dealing with something that understands presence and response. As the distance between them narrows, the environment around them seems to fade into the background. The scattered fragments, the uneven ground, the quiet air all become secondary to this interaction. Moana's focus sharpens, her awareness narrowing to the creature's movements and her own responses. Every step, every shift in posture carries meaning now. Then, without warning, the creature lunges forward, not with the intention to harm, but to take something. Its movement is fast enough that Moana barely has time to react. She instinctively pulls back, but in that brief moment, the creature grabs onto something she carries. The heart of Te Whiti. The small green stone that holds the balance of the world is suddenly no longer in her hand. The shift is immediate. What was a cautious interaction turns into urgency. Moana's focus changes instantly, her calm replaced by a sharp determination. She cannot allow the heart to be taken. Not here, not after everything that has brought her this far. The creature retreats quickly, moving across the fragmented surface with speed that makes pursuit difficult. Moana follows, navigating the uneven ground with as much control as she can manage. The terrain works against her, forcing her to adjust with every step. Pieces shift under her weight, creating instability that slows her down. The creature, on the other hand, moves as if it knows every inch of this space. It weaves through the fragments effortlessly, maintaining its lead. Despite this disadvantage, Moana does not hesitate. She pushes forward, driven by the understanding of what is at stake. This is not just about retrieving an object. It is about preserving the purpose of her entire journey. That urgency sharpens her focus, allowing her to move with more precision despite the difficulty of the environment. The chase leads her deeper into the structure, where the fragments become more densely packed. The path narrows, forcing her to make quicker decisions. There is no time to plan or reconsider. Each movement must be immediate, guided by instinct and awareness. The creature continues to stay just out of reach, its movements calculated to keep distance without losing control of what it has taken. At one point, Moana nearly catches up. She reaches out, her fingers just inches away from the heart, but the creature shifts direction at the last second, slipping through a gap that she cannot easily follow. That near success fuels her determination rather than discouraging it. It shows her that the distance between them is not impossible to close. As the pursuit continues, the environment begins to feel more unstable. Some sections of the structure shift more noticeably, reacting to movement in ways that suggest it is not entirely secure. This adds another layer of risk. Moana must balance speed with caution, knowing that a misstep could cost her more than just time. Finally, the chase reaches a point where the creature pauses, not out of exhaustion, but as if it has reached a position of advantage. It stands on a higher section of the structure, looking down at Moana with the heart still in its grasp. There is a brief moment where everything becomes still again, tension building in the space between them. Moana takes a step forward, her posture steady despite the urgency she feels. She does not rush this time. She understands that reacting too quickly could cause the creature to move again, prolonging the situation. Instead, she focuses on timing, on waiting for the right moment to act. The creature shifts slightly, adjusting its grip, and in that instant, Moana moves. Her action is precise, faster than before, driven by everything she has learned in the short time she has been on this journey. She closes the distance, reaching the creature before it can react fully. There is a brief struggle, not violent, but intense in its focus. For a second, it feels uncertain which way the moment will turn. The creature resists, holding onto the heart with surprising strength for its size. But Moana does not let go. Her determination outweighs the resistance, and with one final movement, she pulls the heart back into her hand. The shift in energy is immediate. The urgency that filled the space fades, replaced by a quieter sense of control. The creature does not continue the struggle. Instead, it retreats slightly, watching her again with the same sharp awareness as before. This time, the interaction feels different. The tension has not disappeared completely, but it has changed. Moana steps back, creating space between them. She does not attempt to chase the creature away or assert control over the situation. She simply holds her ground, the heart secure in her hand. This choice reflects her understanding that not every conflict needs to escalate. Sometimes, holding steady is enough. The creature watches her for a moment longer, then moves away, disappearing back into the fragments as quickly as it appeared. Its presence fades, leaving the space quiet once again. Moana stands there, catching her breath, the intensity of the moment settling into something more manageable. She looks down at the heart, confirming that it is still intact. This small object, so easy to lose, carries everything her journey depends on. The experience she has just gone through reinforces that reality in a way nothing else could. It is not just about protecting it from large, obvious threats. It is about staying aware in every situation, no matter how small it may seem at first. After a moment, she makes her way back toward her boat. The path feels different now, not because the environment has changed, but because she has. Her movements are more confident, her awareness sharper. She has faced something unexpected and managed to respond without losing control. That experience adds to her growth in a way that no preparation could have. When she reaches the edge of the structure, she pauses briefly before stepping back onto her boat. The ocean stretches out before her once again, vast and uncertain. But now, it feels slightly more familiar, not because it has become easier, but because she has begun to understand how to move within it. As she pushes away from the structure, leaving it behind, there is a sense that this encounter was more than just a challenge. It was a lesson, one that showed her the importance of awareness, timing, and control. These are not things she fully possessed at the start of her journey, but they are beginning to take shape now. Moana is no longer just adapting to the ocean. She is starting to engage with it in a deeper way, learning not just how to survive, but how to respond to the unexpected with clarity and purpose. The journey continues, but she is no longer the same person who first stepped onto the water. As the strange structure fades into the distance, Moana feels a shift in her mindset that is difficult to ignore. The encounter she just experienced stays with her, not as fear, but as awareness. The ocean is no longer just a space she moves through. It is a place filled with unknown variables, each one requiring attention and control. That realization changes how she approaches even the simplest actions. Nothing feels automatic anymore. Every movement carries intention. The water is calm again, but it does not feel the same as before. Earlier, calmness brought relief. Now it brings focus. Moana adjusts the sail with careful precision, testing how the wind responds rather than assuming it will carry her forward smoothly. Her hands move with more confidence than before, but there is also restraint in her actions. She is learning to do less, but with more accuracy. Time passes in a steady rhythm, marked by small adjustments and quiet observation. The sun moves across the sky, casting shifting light over the water. Moana stays attentive, reading changes in the wind and the movement of the waves. These details, once overwhelming, begin to form patterns she can recognize. It is not mastery, but it is progress. Each correct decision builds a layer of trust in her own ability. There is a moment where she pauses, looking out at the open water with a different kind of expression. Earlier in her journey, her gaze carried uncertainty and curiosity. Now, there is something more grounded in it. She is no longer questioning whether she belongs here. She is starting to accept that she does, even if she is still learning how to navigate it fully. As the day continues, the ocean introduces another change, not through danger, but through distraction. A cluster of floating debris appears ahead, scattered across the surface in a way that seems random at first glance. Moana slows her approach, remembering how easily small details can lead to unexpected situations. The pieces drift slowly, moving with the current, creating a path that she must carefully navigate through. She steers the boat with controlled movements, avoiding contact with the larger fragments. Some pieces are small and harmless, while others look heavy enough to disrupt her balance if struck directly. This moment tests her ability to stay focused without overreacting. She does not rush, nor does she hesitate. She moves steadily, maintaining control even as the environment becomes slightly more complex. As she passes through, something catches her attention. Among the debris are objects that do not belong to the natural ocean. Pieces shaped by hands, worn but still recognizable. This detail connects back to what she saw earlier, reinforcing the idea that the ocean carries traces of those who have crossed it before. It is not empty. It holds history, scattered and incomplete, but still present. This realization deepens her understanding of the journey she is on. She is not the first to travel these waters, but she is carrying a purpose that feels larger than anything left behind. That thought brings both comfort and pressure. Comfort, because it reminds her that others have faced this vastness before. Pressure, because she must succeed where others may not have. As evening approaches, the sky begins to shift again, colors softening as the light fades. Moana prepares for another night on the water, this time with more awareness of what it will require. She adjusts her position, secures what she can, and takes a moment to steady herself mentally. The first night taught her that rest and alertness must exist together, even when they seem to conflict. The transition into darkness feels less overwhelming this time. The stars appear again, forming patterns that she studies more carefully now. She begins to connect them, recalling fragments of knowledge passed down through stories and observation. It is not perfect, but it gives her a sense of direction that feels more intentional than before. In the middle of the night, the ocean shifts once again, but not with force. Instead, it becomes unusually still. The waves flatten, the wind slows, and for a brief moment, everything feels suspended. This stillness carries a different kind of tension, one that does not come from movement, but from the absence of it. Moana notices it immediately, her senses sharpening as she tries to understand what it means. Then, something beneath the surface begins to move. At first, it is just a subtle disturbance, barely visible, but enough to break the calm. The water shifts in smooth, controlled patterns, as if something large is passing below. Moana watches closely, her body remaining still as her mind processes what she is seeing. This is not like the creature she encountered before. This is something far larger, something that moves with quiet power. The presence beneath the water circles her boat, not aggressively, but with a sense of awareness. It does not rush or strike. It observes, moving in wide, deliberate paths that create gentle ripples on the surface. Moana feels the scale of it without needing to see it fully. The ocean around her seems to respond, as if acknowledging its presence. For a moment, there is uncertainty. She does not know whether to move, to stay still, or to prepare for something more direct. But instead of reacting quickly, she chooses to remain calm. She steadies her breathing, keeping her movements minimal. This decision reflects how much she has grown. Earlier in her journey, this moment might have caused panic. Now it creates focus. Slowly, the shape beneath the surface becomes more visible, not in full detail, but enough to understand its size and movement. It passes by her boat, close enough to confirm its presence, but not close enough to make contact. There is no hostility in its movement. It feels more like acknowledgement, as if it is aware of her but not threatened by her. After a few moments, the presence begins to move away, its shape fading back into the deeper water. The surface returns to stillness, the ripples settling until it feels as though nothing happened at all. But the impact of that moment remains. Moana sits there, absorbing what she has just experienced, understanding that the ocean holds more than she can fully comprehend. This encounter does not shake her confidence. Instead, it strengthens it in a different way. It reminds her that control is not always about action. Sometimes, it is about knowing when not to act. That understanding becomes another layer in her growth, adding to the balance she is building between instinct and awareness. As the night continues, she remains alert, but not tense. The fear that once accompanied the unknown begins to shift into respect. She is learning to exist within this environment rather than trying to dominate it. That change is subtle, but it affects every decision she makes. When morning arrives again, the light reveals a calm ocean stretching endlessly in all directions. Moana takes a moment to reflect, not on how far she has come in distance, but on how much she has changed in approach. She is no longer reacting to the ocean as something separate from her. She is beginning to move with it, understanding its patterns and respecting its unpredictability. As she adjusts her sail and continues forward, there is a quiet sense of momentum building. The journey is still long, still uncertain, but it no longer feels distant or abstract. It feels real, immediate, and shaped by every choice she makes along the way. Moana has crossed another invisible threshold. She is not just surviving the ocean anymore. She is learning how to belong within it, step by step, moment by moment. The challenges are not getting easier, but her ability to face them is becoming stronger, more focused, and more grounded in understanding. The steady rhythm of the ocean begins to feel almost familiar, but that familiarity does not make Moana careless. If anything, it sharpens her awareness even further. She has learned enough now to understand that comfort on the ocean can change without warning. Every calm stretch carries the possibility of sudden disruption, and every quiet moment demands attention rather than relaxation. As the sun rises higher, the air begins to shift in a way that feels different from the usual patterns she has started to recognize. The wind becomes inconsistent, not stronger, but uneven. It changes direction in subtle ways that make controlling the sail more difficult. Moana adjusts carefully, testing each movement rather than committing too quickly. This kind of instability is harder to manage than a clear storm. It requires constant correction, constant focus. The sky reflects this change as well. Clouds begin to gather, not in a dense formation, but scattered in a way that breaks the clarity of the horizon. The light becomes uneven, shifting between brightness and shadow. This makes it harder for Moana to read distance and movement accurately. She narrows her focus, relying less on the horizon and more on the immediate behavior of the water around her. As the hours pass, the uneven wind begins to affect her progress. The boat no longer moves in a steady direction. It drifts slightly off course, forcing her to correct again and again. This repeated effort begins to wear on her, not physically at first, but mentally. It demands constant attention without offering clear progress, which makes it more exhausting than the stronger waves she faced earlier. There is a moment where she pauses, holding the sail in place as she studies the water ahead. She realizes that pushing forward in the same way is not working. The ocean is not resisting her directly, but it is not supporting her either. It feels neutral, almost indifferent. That realization forces her to change her approach. Instead of forcing direction, she begins to work with the shifting wind, adjusting her path in smaller, more flexible movements. This adjustment does not bring immediate success, but it creates a new rhythm. The boat begins to respond more smoothly, even if the direction is not perfectly straight. Moana starts to understand that progress does not always look like moving directly forward. Sometimes, it means adapting to conditions in a way that still leads you where you need to go, even if the path is not obvious. As she continues, something appears in the distance again, but this time it is different from anything she has encountered so far. It is not a structure or debris. It is movement, fast and coordinated. At first, it looks like a disturbance in the water, but as it gets closer, the pattern becomes clear. A group of creatures moves together beneath the surface, their motion creating a wave-like effect that travels across the ocean. Moana slows her boat, watching carefully. The movement is not random. It is organized, almost intentional, as if the group is traveling with a shared purpose. This sight captures her attention in a different way than previous encounters. There is no immediate sense of danger, but there is a clear sense of energy. The water around them feels alive, constantly shifting as they move. As the group passes near her, the surface of the ocean breaks in brief flashes, revealing glimpses of their forms. They are fast, streamlined, and completely in sync with one another. Moana does not attempt to follow or interfere. She simply observes, allowing herself to understand the movement rather than react to it. This moment adds another layer to her understanding of the ocean. It is not just unpredictable or challenging. It is structured in ways she is only beginning to see. There are patterns, systems, and forms of communication that exist beneath the surface. Recognizing this does not give her control, but it gives her perspective. After the group passes, the water settles again, but the energy of that movement lingers. Moana adjusts her course slightly, using what she has learned about the shifting wind to guide her forward. Her movements are more confident now, not because the ocean has become easier, but because she is starting to trust her ability to respond. As the day continues, the uneven wind begins to stabilize. The sky clears gradually, and the horizon becomes visible again. This return to clarity brings a sense of direction that feels more reliable. Moana takes advantage of it, aligning her sail more precisely and allowing the boat to move forward with a smoother rhythm. There is a quiet moment where she looks ahead, her expression steady and focused. The uncertainty that once filled her gaze has been replaced by something more grounded. She is not free from doubt, but she is no longer controlled by it. Each challenge she has faced has added to her understanding, shaping the way she approaches what comes next. As evening approaches once again, the light softens, and the ocean reflects the colors of the sky in a way that feels almost calm despite everything she has experienced. Moana prepares for another night, but this time, there is less tension in her movements. She has learned how to manage the balance between rest and awareness more effectively. The night passes without major disruption, but not without meaning. Moana spends part of it studying the stars again, this time with more intention. She begins to recognize patterns more clearly, connecting them to direction in a way that feels less uncertain. This is not mastery, but it is progress that builds on everything she has experienced so far. By the time morning arrives, there is a quiet sense of forward movement, not just in distance, but in understanding. Moana adjusts her course once more, her actions guided by a growing sense of connection between herself and the environment around her. The ocean no longer feels like something she must overcome. It feels like something she must work with, even when it challenges her. As she continues, the horizon reveals something new again, but this time it carries a different kind of presence. It is not moving, not scattered, not hidden beneath the surface. It stands out clearly against the water, larger and more defined than anything she has seen since leaving her island. Moana narrows her eyes slightly, focusing on the shape ahead. There is a sense that this is not just another passing moment or minor obstacle. It feels more significant, something that could shift the direction of her journey in a more lasting way. She does not rush toward it, but she does not turn away either. Instead, she adjusts her course with steady intention, guiding the boat toward whatever waits ahead. The ocean remains calm for now, but there is a subtle tension in the air, as if the journey is preparing to move into a new phase. Moana has reached a point where her growth is no longer just internal. It is visible in every action she takes. She moves with purpose, thinks with clarity, and responds with control. The journey is far from over, but she is no longer defined by uncertainty. She is defined by her ability to face it. The shape on the horizon grows larger with each passing moment, and unlike the scattered fragments or shifting forms Moana has encountered before, this one carries a sense of permanence. It does not drift or dissolve into the movement of the ocean. It stands firm, rising from the water with a structure that feels intentional. As she guides her boat closer, the details begin to sharpen, revealing something that feels both grounded and unfamiliar at the same time. The outline suggests land, but not in the welcoming way her home island once did. There is a roughness to it, a lack of warmth that makes it feel less like a place of life and more like a place shaped by something harsher. The surface appears uneven, with jagged edges that catch the light in sharp angles. It does not invite approach, but it does not push her away either. It simply exists, waiting. Moana slows her boat, her movements careful and controlled. She studies the water around the land, looking for patterns that might signal hidden danger. The ocean here feels different, not unstable, but quieter in a way that feels deliberate. The waves are smaller, the movement more contained, as if something is holding them back from their natural rhythm. This stillness carries a subtle tension that she cannot ignore. As she moves closer, she notices that the shoreline is not smooth. It is broken, formed by layers that look almost hardened over time. There is little sign of life, no visible movement or sound that suggests activity. This absence creates a contrast with everything she has known so far. Even the open ocean, with all its unpredictability, carried signs of life. This place feels still in a way that is harder to understand. She guides the boat toward a section that appears more stable, watching how the water interacts with the land. There are small shifts, subtle movements where the waves meet the edge, but nothing that suggests immediate danger. Once she is close enough, she secures the boat and steps onto the surface, testing it carefully before committing her full weight. The ground beneath her feet feels solid, but not natural in the way she expects. It carries a texture that feels almost resistant, as if it has been shaped by forces that did not intend comfort. Moana pauses for a moment, taking in her surroundings. The air feels heavier here, quieter, with a stillness that does not feel entirely peaceful. She begins to move forward, her steps slow and deliberate. Each movement is guided by awareness rather than urgency. There is no clear path, no obvious direction to follow, but something about the place draws her further in. It is not curiosity alone. It is a sense that this place holds meaning connected to her journey, even if she does not yet understand how. As she walks, the environment reveals more of its nature. The ground shifts slightly in elevation, creating uneven surfaces that require careful navigation. There are formations that look almost like remnants of something larger, shapes that suggest change rather than stability. This place does not feel abandoned. It feels altered. Moana's focus sharpens as she moves deeper. The silence around her is not empty. It feels watchful, as if the space itself is aware of her presence. This sensation is not overwhelming, but it is enough to keep her alert. She does not rush. She does not call out. She simply continues, allowing her awareness to guide her. At one point, she stops, sensing something ahead. There is no visible movement, but there is a shift in the air that feels different from the stillness she has been walking through. It is subtle, almost impossible to define, but it is enough to make her pause. Her body tenses slightly, not in fear, but in preparation. Then, in the distance, something changes. A movement, slow and controlled, breaks the stillness. It is not sudden or chaotic. It is deliberate, carrying a weight that feels significant. Moana narrows her focus, trying to understand what she is seeing. The shape is not fully clear yet, but its presence is undeniable. As it becomes more visible, the scale of it begins to register. This is not something small or quick like the creature she encountered before. This is something larger, something that carries a sense of power simply through its movement. The ground beneath it seems to respond, shifting slightly as it moves. Moana does not retreat. She stands her ground, her posture steady despite the growing tension. This moment feels different from anything she has faced so far. It is not just a challenge of navigation or awareness. It is a confrontation with something that feels deeply connected to the imbalance she set out to fix. The figure continues to move, its form becoming clearer with each step. There is a roughness to it, a texture that looks almost hardened, as if it has been shaped by pressure and time rather than growth. Its movement is slow, but not weak. Every step carries weight, each motion controlled and deliberate. For a brief moment, everything else fades. The ocean, the journey, the distance she has traveled all feel secondary to this encounter. Moana's focus narrows completely, her attention fixed on the presence in front of her. This is no longer about learning or adapting. This is about facing something real and immediate. The figure stops at a distance, its presence filling the space between them. There is no immediate action, no sudden attack or movement. Instead, there is a pause, a moment where both seem to assess the situation. The silence returns, but it feels heavier now, filled with tension that has yet to break. Moana's grip tightens slightly as she holds the heart of Te Whiti. The small green stone feels even more significant in this moment. It is not just an object she carries. It is the reason she is here, the key to everything that has led to this encounter. The connection between the heart and the presence in front of her becomes clear, even if the details are not fully understood. The figure shifts slightly, its movement sending a subtle vibration through the ground. This is not a random presence. It feels tied to the land itself, as if it is part of it rather than separate from it. That realization adds another layer to the situation. This is not just something she must face. It is something that defines this place. Moana takes a step forward, her movement slow but intentional. She does not act out of impulse. She acts out of understanding that standing still will not resolve anything. This step is not aggressive. It is deliberate, a signal that she is willing to engage rather than retreat. The space between them feels charged, filled with possibility that could shift in any direction. The figure responds with a slight movement, not advancing, but acknowledging her action. This interaction is quiet, but it carries weight. It suggests that this encounter will not be simple or one-sided. The journey reaches a point where everything begins to converge. The The ocean, the legend, the heart, and Moana's growth all lead to this moment. She stands on unfamiliar ground, facing something that represents more than just an obstacle. It represents the imbalance she has come to restore. The story does not rush forward from here. It holds this moment, allowing the tension to build, allowing the weight of everything that has led here to settle fully. Moana is no longer just navigating a journey. She is standing at the edge of something far greater, something that will test everything she has learned so far. The stillness between Moana and the towering figure does not break immediately. It stretches, holding tension in a way that feels almost deliberate. Every second adds weight to the moment, making it clear that what stands before her is not something that reacts without thought. It observes, it waits, and in that waiting, it creates pressure that is harder to face than sudden action. Moana remains steady, her posture controlled, her breathing measured. The instinct to step back exists, but she does not follow it. She understands now that retreating without purpose will not resolve anything. At the same time, rushing forward would only escalate a situation she does not fully understand. So she holds her ground, allowing the moment to unfold rather than forcing it. The figure shifts again, this time with more presence. Its movement is slow, but the impact of it is immediate. The ground beneath it reacts, small fragments shifting as if responding to its weight. There is something about it that feels connected to the land itself, not just standing on it, but part of it. This connection makes the encounter feel larger than a simple confrontation. Moana's eyes stay fixed, studying every detail she can gather. The texture of the figure, the way it moves, the way the environment reacts around it. None of it feels random. It feels shaped by something deeper, something tied to the imbalance she has been trying to understand since the beginning of her journey. That realization sharpens her focus even further. Without warning, the figure moves forward, closing part of the distance between them. The motion is not fast, but it carries force that is impossible to ignore. Moana reacts instantly, stepping to the side, adjusting her position rather than retreating completely. This response is controlled, guided by awareness rather than panic. It shows how far she has come from the uncertainty she once carried. The space between them shifts from stillness to movement. The figure advances again, this time with more intention, its presence filling the area with a sense of pressure that is both physical and emotional. Moana moves in response, keeping distance where she can, adjusting her position to maintain control of the situation. This is not a battle in the traditional sense. It is a test of awareness, timing, and understanding. There is a moment where the ground shifts more aggressively, forcing Moana to regain her balance quickly. The environment itself becomes part of the challenge, reacting to the movement of the figure in ways that add complexity to every step she takes. She cannot focus only on what stands before her. She must also read the space around her, adapting to changes as they happen. Despite the intensity of the moment, Moana's focus remains clear. She does not act blindly. She watches, learns, and responds. Each movement from the figure reveals something, a pattern, a rhythm, a way of existing within this space. It is not predictable in a simple sense, but it is not chaotic either. There is structure beneath its actions, even if she cannot fully define it yet. At one point, the figure makes a larger movement, shifting its position in a way that sends a stronger reaction through the ground. Moana uses that moment to reposition herself, creating space rather than closing it. This choice reflects her understanding that this is not about overpowering what stands before her. It is about finding the right way to engage with it. The heart of Te Whiti remains in her hand, its presence constant and grounding. She becomes more aware of it now, not just as an object, but as a connection between her and the figure. There is a sense that what she holds is directly tied to what she is facing. That connection does not feel simple or immediate, but it is there, shaping the moment in ways she is still trying to understand. As the interaction continues, Moana begins to notice something subtle. The figure's movements, while powerful, carry a sense of resistance within them. It is not just acting outwardly. It feels as though something is holding it in a certain state, shaping its behavior in ways that are not entirely its own. This realization does not come all at once. It builds gradually, through observation and instinct. This shift in perception changes how she approaches the situation. Instead of seeing the figure as something she must avoid or confront directly, she begins to see it as something that might be connected to the imbalance she has come to restore. That thought does not give her an immediate solution, but it changes her focus from reaction to understanding. There is a brief moment where the figure pauses again, its movement slowing just enough to create an opening. Moana takes a step forward, this time with more intention than before. Her movement is careful, but it is also direct. She is no longer just responding. She is beginning to engage on her own terms. The figure reacts, not by retreating, but by shifting its position slightly, as if acknowledging her approach. This interaction creates a different kind of tension, one that is less about immediate danger and more about what comes next. The space between them feels charged, filled with possibilities that have not yet taken form. Moana raises her hand slightly, the heart visible, its green glow standing out against the rough, muted tones of the environment. This action is not aggressive. It is deliberate, an attempt to connect rather than confront. She does not fully understand what will happen, but she trusts the instinct that has guided her this far. For a moment, nothing changes. The figure remains where it is, its presence steady and unyielding. Then slowly there is a shift, not in movement, but in response. The environment around them seems to react differently, as if something has been recognized, even if it has not yet been resolved. This moment does not bring immediate clarity or resolution. Instead, it deepens the complexity of the situation. Moana realizes that this is not something that can be solved through force or quick action. It requires understanding, patience, and the willingness to see beyond what is immediately visible. The tension remains, but it changes in tone. It becomes less about conflict and more about connection, even if that connection is not yet fully formed. Moana holds her position, her focus steady, her awareness fully engaged. She is no longer just facing something unknown. She is beginning to understand that what she faces is part of something larger. The story moves away from simple confrontation and into something deeper. The journey that began with curiosity and grew through challenge has now reached a point where understanding becomes the key. Moana stands in front of a presence that represents more than just an obstacle. It represents a question she must answer, not with strength alone, but with clarity. The moment stretches, but something within it has changed. The tension is still there, but it no longer feels like a direct clash. It feels like something waiting to be understood. Moana stands firm, her hands still raised slightly, the heart visible, its presence steady. She does not move closer immediately. Instead, she allows the space between her and the figure to exist, giving the moment time to unfold on its own. The figure remains still for a brief period, but its stillness now feels different. Earlier, it carried weight and resistance. Now, there is something beneath that surface, something quieter, almost restrained. Moana watches carefully, her focus sharpening as she tries to read not just the movement, but the absence of it. Sometimes, what does not happen reveals more than what does. A subtle shift occurs. The figure lowers slightly, not in defeat, but in a way that suggests change. The movement is small, but it carries meaning. The ground beneath it responds less aggressively than before, as if the connection between the two is easing, even if only slightly. Moana notices this and takes a careful step forward, maintaining the same controlled pace she has relied on throughout her journey. As she moves closer, the details of the figure become clearer. The rough texture that once felt solid and unyielding now appears layered, as if it is not a single form but something built over time. This observation sparks a new line of thought in her mind. What she is seeing might not be the true form, but something that has formed around it. That realization deepens as she studies the figure's movement again. There is resistance, not just outward, but inward. It is as if something within is pushing against what has formed around it. This is not a simple presence. It is something divided, something caught between two states. Moana's expression shifts slightly as understanding begins to take shape. She lowers her hand just enough to look directly at the heart again. The small green stone feels warmer now, more active, as if responding to the proximity of what stands before her. This reaction confirms what she has begun to suspect. The heart is not just connected to the journey. It is connected to this moment, to this figure, in a direct and meaningful way. Moana takes another step forward, closing more of the distance. This time, the figure does not react with movement or force. It remains where it is, its presence steady but no longer advancing. This stillness feels like an opening, not a trap. It invites understanding rather than resistance. Her thoughts begin to align more clearly. The legend she heard as a child, the imbalance that spread across the world, the decline of her island, all of it points back to one central truth. Something was taken, and the world has been reacting to that loss ever since. What stands before her is not just a result of that loss. It is part of it. The idea settles fully now. The figure is not separate from what was lost. It is what remains when balance is broken. That understanding changes everything. This is not an enemy to defeat. It is something to restore. Moana's posture shifts, not into defense, but into purpose. She steps forward again, now close enough to feel the presence of the figure in a more immediate way. The air around them feels charged, but not with aggression. It feels heavy with something unresolved. She raises the heart again, this time with clarity rather than uncertainty. Her movement is steady, deliberate, guided by the understanding that has formed within her. She does not hesitate, but she does not rush either. Every step is measured, every action intentional. As she approaches, the figure begins to change in response. The rough outer layer shifts slightly, small fragments loosening as if reacting to the presence of the heart. The ground beneath them becomes less unstable, the environment responding in subtle but noticeable ways. This reaction confirms that she is moving in the right direction. There is a brief moment where hesitation returns, not as fear, but as awareness of the importance of what she is about to do. This is the point where everything converges, where every choice she has made leads to a single action. She pauses just long enough to steady herself, to ensure that her intention is clear. Then she steps forward fully, closing the final distance. The figure does not resist. It remains still, its presence shifting from force to something more open. Moana reaches out, her hand holding the heart steady as she moves it toward the center of the figure. The contact is not dramatic or explosive. It is quiet, almost gentle. The moment the heart touches, there is a subtle shift, a change that spreads outward rather than bursting forward. The rough outer layer begins to break apart, not violently, but in a way that feels like release rather than destruction. Moana does not step back. She stays where she is, watching as the change unfolds. The figure begins to transform, the hardened exterior falling away to reveal something beneath it. The process is gradual, allowing the moment to carry its full weight rather than rushing toward a conclusion. As more of the outer layer falls away, the shape beneath becomes clearer. It is not what it appeared to be before. The roughness gives way to something smoother, something that feels more aligned with the idea of creation rather than destruction. The environment around them begins to respond more visibly now, the ground stabilizing, the air feeling lighter. Moana's expression softens slightly as she watches this transformation. There is no sense of victory in her posture, no triumph or relief in the usual sense. Instead, there is understanding. She has not defeated something. She has restored something. The final pieces of the outer layer fall away, revealing the true form that was hidden beneath. The presence that once felt heavy and resistant now feels calm, balanced, and complete. The shift is not just physical. It is emotional, carrying a sense of resolution that has been building since the beginning of the story. Moana lowers her hand slowly, the heart now returned to where it belongs. The connection between her and the figure remains for a brief moment, a silent acknowledgement of what has been restored. There are no words, no direct communication, but the understanding is clear. The environment around them reflects this change. The stillness that once felt heavy now feels peaceful. The tension that filled the space has been replaced by a sense of balance. Everything feels aligned in a way that was missing before. Moana takes a step back, not out of distance, but to take in the full scope of what has happened. The journey that brought her here was filled with uncertainty, challenge, and moments of doubt. But this moment brings clarity. It shows that the purpose of her journey was not to fight or conquer, but to understand and restore. The story reaches its emotional peak, not through action, but through resolution. The conflict that defined the journey has been addressed in a way that reflects everything Moana has learned. She stands in a place that once felt uncertain, now grounded in understanding, ready for what comes next. The transformation settles into stillness, but this time, the stillness carries peace rather than tension. The space that once felt heavy now feels open, almost renewed. Moana stands quietly, allowing the moment to fully land. There is no rush to move, no urgency pushing her forward. After everything she has faced, this pause feels earned, not as an ending, but as a moment of clarity. The figure before her, now restored to its true form, no longer carries the weight it once did. The presence is calm, balanced, and grounded in a way that feels natural rather than forced. The connection between them lingers, not as something that needs to be maintained, but as something that has already fulfilled its purpose. Moana does not speak, and neither does the presence before her, yet the understanding between them feels complete. As she takes a slow step back, the environment continues to shift in response. The ground beneath her feels more stable, no longer reacting unpredictably. The air carries a lighter quality, as if something that once pressed down on it has been lifted. These changes are not dramatic, but they are consistent, reinforcing the sense that balance has been restored not just in one place, but across something much larger. Moana looks around, taking in the details she had not fully noticed before. The roughness that defined this place has softened, not disappearing completely, but no longer dominating the space. It feels like a place that has gone through change rather than a place that was always this way. That distinction matters, because it reflects the journey she has just completed. Her attention returns briefly to the presence before her. There is no need for further action, no additional step required. What needed to be done has been done. That realization brings a quiet sense of closure, not in a final sense, but in a way that allows her to move forward without hesitation. She turns slowly, her gaze shifting back toward the ocean. The path that brought her here now feels different when viewed in reverse. It is no longer just a series of challenges or obstacles. It is a path that shaped her, one that taught her how to understand rather than react, how to listen rather than resist. Walking back toward her boat, her steps are steady, grounded in the experience she now carries. The journey back does not feel like a retreat. It feels like continuation, a return with purpose rather than an escape from difficulty. Every movement reflects the growth she has gained, not just in skill, but in perspective. When she reaches the edge of the water, she pauses briefly, looking out at the vast ocean once again. This time, the view does not carry the same uncertainty it once did. It still holds depth, still carries unpredictability, but it no longer feels overwhelming. It feels like something she understands, even if only partially. She steps onto her boat with confidence that comes from experience rather than expectation. The movements that once required effort now feel more natural. She adjusts the sail, aligns her direction, and allows the wind to guide her forward. The ocean responds as it always has, not changing for her, but no longer feeling like something separate from her. The return journey unfolds with a different energy. The challenges are still present, but they no longer define her actions. She navigates with awareness, making adjustments as needed, responding to changes without hesitation. Each moment builds on the last, creating a flow that feels steady and intentional. There are moments of reflection along the way, not filled with doubt, but with understanding. She thinks of her father, of the boundaries he believed in, and sees them now with more clarity. They were not wrong, but they were incomplete. She thinks of her grandmother, of the guidance that allowed her to question and explore, and recognizes how essential that perspective was in shaping her path. As time passes, the horizon begins to reveal something familiar. The outline of her island appears in the distance, small at first, then gradually becoming clearer. The sight carries a sense of connection that feels stronger than before. This is not just the place she left. It is the place she returns to with new understanding. As she approaches, the details of the island begin to take shape. The shoreline, the trees, the movement of people in the distance. But there is something different now. The island feels more alive, more vibrant than when she left. The changes are subtle, but they are there, reflecting the restoration that has taken place beyond what can be seen directly. When her boat reaches the shore, she does not rush to step off. She takes a moment, sitting still, allowing the journey to settle fully within her. This pause is not hesitation. It is acknowledgement, a recognition of everything that has led to this point. Then she steps onto the land, her feet touching the ground with a sense of certainty. The island feels the same, yet different, not because it has changed entirely, but because she has. The people begin to gather, their reactions forming naturally as they see her return. There is surprise, relief, and something deeper that is harder to define. Her father steps forward, his expression carrying a mix of emotions that reflect everything he has been through in her absence. There is no immediate explanation, no need for long dialogue. The understanding between them begins in a simple moment, in the way they look at each other. Moana does not present herself as someone who has defied him. She stands as someone who has grown, who has seen beyond what was known and returned with something more. That difference shapes the way this moment unfolds. It is not about proving a point. It is about sharing understanding. As the people of the island begin to absorb what has changed, there is a shift in energy that spreads through the community. The problems that once felt overwhelming begin to ease. The land responds, the resources return, and the sense of uncertainty that once lingered begins to fade. But more important than the physical change is the shift in perspective. The island is no longer seen as a place confined by fear. It becomes part of something larger again, connected to the ocean rather than separated from it. This shift reflects the journey Moana has taken, now extending beyond her to her entire community. The story moves from resolution into reflection. The journey has reached its conclusion in action, but its meaning continues to unfold. Moana stands not just as someone who completed a task, but as someone who changed the way her world understands itself. The return does not feel like an ending. It feels like a shift into something new that carries the weight of everything Moana has experienced. The island is alive in a way that feels both familiar and transformed. The same paths, the same homes, the same people, yet the energy moving through them is different. It is no longer shaped by quiet uncertainty. It carries movement, possibility, and a sense of direction that was missing before. Moana stands among her people, not above them, not separate from them, but within the same space she once left behind. The difference now is in how she sees it. Every detail feels sharper, more connected. The conversations around her are no longer just routine exchanges. They carry meaning, shaped by what has changed and what is now possible. Her father watches her closely, not with the strict certainty he once held, but with reflection. There is a shift in his posture, a softening that suggests understanding has replaced resistance. He does not speak immediately. Instead, he allows the moment to unfold, just as Moana has learned to do throughout her journey. When he finally steps forward, the distance between them feels smaller than it ever has. This is not a confrontation, not a correction of past actions. It is a meeting point where two perspectives that once stood apart begin to align. His expression carries both pride and humility, a recognition that leadership is not fixed, but something that evolves. Moana meets his gaze with the same clarity she carried on the ocean. There is no need to explain everything she went through. The understanding exists without needing to be fully spoken. That silence between them feels complete, not empty, because it is built on shared recognition. The community begins to gather more closely, their attention shifting from curiosity to engagement. They are not just reacting to her return. They are responding to the changes they can feel around them. The land is healthier, the air feels lighter, and the sense of stability that once felt uncertain has begun to return. But the most important change is not just in what has been restored. It is in what has been rediscovered. The idea of the ocean, once seen as a boundary, begins to take on a different meaning. It is no longer something to fear or avoid. It becomes something to understand, something to connect with again. Moana does not force the shift. She does not stand and declare what should be done next. Instead, she leads through presence, through the way she carries herself, through the quiet confidence that reflects everything she has learned. This approach allows the change to feel natural rather than imposed. There is a moment where she walks toward the edge of the island, the same place where she once stood filled with uncertainty. The ocean stretches out before her, unchanged in its vastness, yet completely different in how it feels. It is no longer a distant calling. It is something she knows, something she has faced and understood in ways she once could not imagine. Behind her, members of the community begin to follow, not because they are told to, but because they are drawn by the same curiosity that once lived quietly within her. This movement is subtle at first, a few steps, a few people, but it carries significance. It marks the beginning of something larger than a single journey. The boats hidden for so long do not remain forgotten. They are brought back into the light, not as relics of the past, but as tools for the future. The process of restoring them is not rushed. It is careful, intentional, reflecting the respect for what they represent. Each piece, each adjustment, carries meaning beyond function. Moana takes part in this process, not as someone above it, but as someone within it. Her hands move with familiarity now, shaped by her time on the ocean. She does not need to prove her ability. It shows in the way she works, in the way she understands what is needed without hesitation. Her father joins as well, his actions reflecting a willingness to step into something he once resisted. This shift is not dramatic, but it is real. It shows that growth is not limited to one person. It extends to everyone willing to adapt and understand. As the boats take shape, the energy of the island shifts further. There is movement, preparation, and a sense of purpose that connects everyone involved. This is no longer about survival alone. It is about expansion, about reconnecting with something that was once part of their identity. Moana stands at the center of this change, but not as a symbol placed above others. She is part of the movement, part of the process. Her journey has not separated her from her people. It has connected her to them in a deeper way. There is a moment where the boats are ready, lined along the shore, waiting. The ocean lies ahead, vast and open, no longer a boundary, but an opportunity. The people gather, their expressions carrying a mix of anticipation and focus. This is not a return to the past. It is a step into something new, built on what has been learned. Moana steps onto one of the boats, her movement steady, her presence grounded. She looks back briefly, not in hesitation, but in acknowledgement of everything that has brought her here. Then she turns forward, her focus aligning with the horizon once again. The boats begin to move, one by one, guided by hands that are learning, adjusting, and growing with each motion. The ocean responds as it always has, not changing for them, but now met with understanding rather than fear. As they move forward, the island behind them does not feel left behind. It feels connected, part of a larger path that extends beyond what can be seen in a single moment. This connection defines the shift that has taken place, turning isolation into movement, turning uncertainty into direction. Moana stands at the front, her posture reflecting everything she has become. She is not just someone who answered a call. She is someone who understood it, followed it, and returned with something that reshaped her world. The journey does not end here. It continues, not as a single story, but as something that will grow and evolve with time. The ocean stretches ahead, carrying possibilities that are no longer distant or unreachable. This story leaves a lasting impression not because of its scale, but because of its focus. It does not rely on constant action to create meaning. It builds its impact through growth, through understanding, and through the choices that define its characters. From a review perspective, Moana stands out because it respects its audience. It does not simplify its themes or rush its development. It allows its main character to grow in a way that feels earned, shaped by experience rather than convenience. The balance between adventure and emotional depth is handled with care, making each moment feel purposeful. The performances add to this impact. Auliʻi Cravalho brings a natural authenticity to Moana, capturing both her uncertainty and her strength without forcing either. Dwayne Johnson adds presence and energy, but the story never relies on that alone. It builds its foundation through character and progression rather than spectacle. The direction keeps everything focused, ensuring that the pacing supports the story rather than rushing through it. The visual design enhances the experience without overpowering it, creating a world that feels alive and connected to the themes it carries. If you look at this film as more than just an animated adventure, it becomes clear why it resonates so strongly. It is about identity, about understanding where you come from and where you are meant to go. It is about facing uncertainty not with blind confidence, but with awareness and purpose. Final verdict: this is a film that delivers both as a story and as an experience. It maintains emotional depth while still being accessible, creating a balance that is not easy to achieve. The journey feels complete, but it also leaves space for reflection. If you enjoy stories that combine adventure with meaningful character growth, this is one worth experiencing fully. Watch it for the journey, not just the destination.